The trial chamber reeked of ozone and something sharper, the scent of fury barely contained. Mara stood in the center of the crystalline platform, her wrists bound by energy shackles that hummed with each breath she took. Around her, the Council of 12 loomed like ancient mountains, their chitinous forms catching the harsh white light that streamed down from above. She had stopped protesting her innocence hours ago. It made no difference. "The evidence is absolute," rumbled Dexler, the council elder whose mandibles clicked with each syllable. "Your genetic material was found on the body of Rick, beloved cub of the matriarch herself. The bite marks match human dentition. Your kind's violent nature is well documented across 17 systems." Mara's jaw tightened. Yes, humans had a reputation. They were the newcomers to the galactic community, the aggressive primates who had clawed their way off a death world and somehow survived encounters that would have exterminated species with millennia more experience. They were feared, respected, and never fully trusted. "I didn't kill Rick," Mara said quietly, her voice steady despite the tremor in her legs. "I found him. I tried to save him. By contaminating the scene with your primitive attempts at medicine?" Another counselor, Vress, leaned forward, her optical stalks narrowing. "The cub's blood was on your hands, literally. Because I was performing CPR. Mara's voice cracked. "Because he was dying and I'm a trauma medic and I couldn't just stand there and watch." Silence. The word reverberated through the chamber like a physical blow. Mara's teeth rattled. The matriarch herself had spoken, rising from her throne at the chamber's apex. She was massive, easily 4 meters tall, her carapace adorned with the scars of 100 battles and the ceremonial markings of her bloodline. "You will not speak my son's name with that mouth," the matriarch hissed. That mouth that tore into his soft flesh. That murdered him. Mara wanted to scream. She wanted to rage against the injustice of it all, but she had learned enough about Xyrillian culture to know that emotion would only confirm their biases. Humans were volatile, dangerous, killers, so instead she stood straight and met the matriarch's compound eyes. "Then kill me," she said. "But you'll be executing an innocent being, and that blood will stain your honor far longer than mine will stain this floor." The silence that followed was suffocating. Dexler cleared his throat, a sound like grinding rocks. "The sentence is death by neural dissolution, to be carried out at sunset, 3 rotations hence. The human will be given time to make peace with whatever gods her kind believes in." The guards moved forward. But before they could escort her away, a sound pierced the chamber, a sound that froze every being present. A chirp, high-pitched, uncertain, but unmistakably alive. Every head turned toward the chamber entrance. Through the arched doorway stumbled a small figure, no taller than Mara's hip. His carapace was still soft, marked with the pale colors of youth. One of his legs dragged behind him, and his breathing came in ragged gasps. "Rick," the matriarch breathed. The chamber exploded into chaos. Guards rushed forward. Council members rose from their seats. The matriarch leaped from her throne with a cry that was half roar, half sob, landing beside her son and gathering him into her arms with a tenderness that seemed impossible from such a massive creature. Mara felt her knees buckle. Relief and confusion warred within her chest. "Mother," Rick wheezed, his voice weak but clear. "Mother, please." "The human, she saved me." "Hush, child, you're delirious." "The trauma." "No." Despite his weakness, Rick's voice carried authority beyond his years. "I was attacked by the Vryn, the exile. He ambushed me in the gardens, said our family had dishonored his bloodline. He tore into me, Mother. He would have killed me." The matriarch's optical stalks swiveled toward Mara, then back to her son. "The human found me," Rick continued, his breathing steadying slightly. "She scared the Vryn away. She put her hands on my wounds and pushed. It hurt, Mother, it hurt so much, but the bleeding stopped. She breathed air into my lungs when I couldn't breathe anymore. She carried me to the medical ward and stayed with me until the healers came. But the scans showed you were dead," Vress interjected, her voice hollow with shock. "Your neural signature was gone. We performed the death rituals." "Your body was in induced stasis," said a new voice. A Xyrillian healer entered the chamber, her medical insignias gleaming. The human's primitive techniques inadvertently triggered a deep hibernation response. "We didn't recognize it because we've never seen a Xyrillian cub respond that way to external stimulus. By the time we understood what had happened, the trial had already begun. I came as quickly as I could." The chamber fell silent again, but this silence was different. It was the silence of shame realized, of horror understood. Dexler slowly turned toward Mara. "We have made an error? An error?" Mara's voice was barely above a whisper, but it cut through the room like a blade. "You were going to kill me, dissolve my mind. For saving a child's life. Your kind's reputation rests began. Is that all we are to you?" Mara's voice rose now, months of fear and frustration pouring out. "A reputation? A footnote in your databases about how violent and dangerous humans are? Did none of you stop to think that maybe, just maybe, those same violent instincts that you fear are what drive us to fight for the innocent? That our aggression isn't mindless but protective?" She turned to face the entire council, her shackles still humming. "You talk about honor, about justice. But you were ready to execute me based on prejudice and circumstantial evidence. Because it was easier to believe that a human would murder a child than to investigate further." The matriarch approached slowly, Rick still cradled in her arms. She knelt before Mara, bringing herself to eye level with the human. Up close, Mara could see the tracks where tears had run through the fine hairs around her eyes. "I would have killed an innocent," the matriarch said softly. "I would have committed the very crime I sought to avenge. There is no honor in that. There is no justice in that." She reached forward with one massive claw and carefully, almost reverently, deactivated Mara's shackles. They fell away with a clatter that echoed through the chamber. "Mara of Earth," the matriarch said, her voice carrying the weight of ceremony, "you have saved my son's life at great cost to yourself. You have shown courage in the face of death and mercy when you had every right to hate us. By the old laws, by the codes of honor that predate the council itself, I declare a life debt. My house is yours, my protection is yours, and my eternal gratitude is yours." Rick stirred in his mother's arms, reaching out one small appendage toward Mara. Without thinking, Mara took it gently, feeling the rapid pulse beneath the soft carapace. "Thank you," Rick whispered. "Thank you for not giving up on me." Mara felt something break inside her chest, not with pain, but with release. She had been so angry, so terrified, so ready to accept death with defiance rather than dignity. But looking at Rick, alive and healing, she felt that anger transmute into something else entirely. Hope. "You're welcome," she said, her voice thick. "That's what we do, that's what humans do. We fight for those who can't fight for themselves." As the council murmured their apologies and the chamber slowly emptied, Mara remained with the matriarch and Rick. The sunset that was to have marked her execution instead painted the sky in shades of amber and gold. And for the first time since the nightmare began, Mara allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, humanity's reputation could be rebuilt, one saved life at a time.